Welcome to Vsb News Online for Wednesday, April 29th. I'm Peter Kittel. Heading back to the turmoil in the city of Baltimore over the past few days and still in a state of disbelief is Bermudian David Bascom, who is a resident of the East Coast area. He tells Earl Basin that it is a growing concern for everyone.
Right now, there's a lot of violence, and it's become more violence than a protest. And violence when you're seeing young people running around 13, 14 years old. And then I did receive it was a letter that came out, with basically the state and with all the schools. And because I'm a charity, it was a letter that came out basically saying is how we have 3 gangs that's involved. And so it seems like this is more around a lot of our young people that's on the streets doing some madness. There's chaos right now. I mean, we can all watch it on the TV the other day. We see a mother chasing after her son, giving them some licks, as we call it, and letting them know protesting is one thing. I have no problem with the protests, but when you're causing disturbance and violence in the areas where you live, and even areas outside when other communities live who may be now standing up for you, that's an issue. When the mayor has to call for the National Guard to come in, and I feel for her because she has done great. She has done great with the city. The issue is that people was having with the mayor is that, okay, there hasn't been no resolution because this has happened before. Not so much the violence, but the situation with the brutality. 3 weeks ago, I remember, just before I came down, 2 days ago, I do remember that they had to actually, come to terms with a family. That there was an incident, a young man died, considered being murdered by the police, and I think it was they had to pay out $200,000-$300,000. So they had to basically come to terms, and this is what people's upset with all of a sudden again. And it's something because once it happens, and especially when it's happening with African American or blacks, it becomes now a racist issue, and that's where she's battling against.
With over 10,000 reported deaths from the earthquake in Nepal, the need for aid to that disaster-ravaged country is vital. Tracy Tepper, founder of Gentle Rain Nepal, and Jenny Lee O'Donnell, chair of Cat Kids, are spearheading relief aid for Nepal and tells how Bermudians can help.
The best way to go about that is to send money because it's available much more cost effectively and much more quickly on the ground. So there are still supplies available on the ground. And what we need is funds to enable people to get to the supplies and to distribute them. So that people know there are also local people donating food and water and tents where they have them, but they're having trouble with distribution. So funds are also needed to pay to access fuel, to get people to come and drive the cars, and to actually get the supplies to the source. And in the more remote areas, close to the epicenter, the rescue crews are just arriving there. The word we're getting is that there's been 100% loss of buildings. All the infrastructure is gone, so people have been outside for days now without food, water, and shelter.
We've been working with the community to raise awareness and funds for Bermuda to give to Nepal for some time now with our yearly markets. And we are making an appeal now to Cat Kids supporters and to all of Bermuda for funds to help 2 charities that we are currently assisting already in Nepal. One of which is Tracy's charity, Gentle Rain Nepal, which works in Kathmandu as well as 2 outer villages. And the other is Asa Nepal, which works in Kathmandu with victims of sex trafficking. There's a great amount of need, not only for their infrastructure to rebuild, but also because they're funding with their communities emergency relief to people who come to them. So there's an expanded need immediately, and there will be expanded need in the medium term.
20 top US and UK real estate companies with MBA programs have been involved for the last 6 months in designing a new Hamilton waterfront for Bermuda. And on Thursday night, an invited audience here will get to meet the winning team and hear from them what they suggest. The annual real estate competition is organized by the University of North Carolina and for the past 10 years has been choosing a location in various parts of the world as the MBA Challenge. Rigo Sotheby's International Realty is in charge of the unveiling, and Penny McIntyre, who served as one of the judges, told Vsb News that the contest sought the highest and best use for the multi-acre site, using a combination of developer equity and funds raised from high net worth investors in Bermuda and abroad. The winning development plan came up with an impressive phased and mixed-use approach, she said. A government spokesman said last night that the claim by BIU President Chris Ferbert of a lack of consultation over the closing of the Paget post office simply does not hold water. The spokesman said that the BPSU and the BIU had been invited to discuss this very matter, and both unions said they would send representatives. In the event, the BPSU turned up, but there was no one there from the BIU. After the meeting, ministry staff visited the president of the Postal Workers Division of the BIU and told him what had transpired. There has been no attempt to keep the BIU out of the loop. And we'll be back with more news right after this.
The Marketplace Food Court is you and your family's one-stop shop. Start your day at the breakfast bar with omelets made to order and traditional Bermuda codfish breakfast. The chefs will cook lunch and dinner to your liking. Along with the salad bar, sandwich bar, sushi bar, and fruit bar, the Marketplace Food Court is your kitchen away from home. Every day is hassle-free with nutritious meals from the Marketplace Food Court. Visit us 7 days a week. Homemade cooking, quality service, all at prices you can count on.
Locals and visitors anticipating dining at the new Marcus restaurant won't have much longer to wait. Come May 27th, Marcus Samuelson's specialty restaurant in the Hamilton Princess will open its doors for dinner, and on June 11th for lunch. Charles Webb had a sneak preview, and in this first of a two-part interview, Director of Sales and Marketing Scott Evans gives some insight on what's in store for diners.
The reason that Marcus is here is because of Bermuda. The culture, the food, it ties in so well with what he likes to do from a culinary standpoint. Then you add to that the actual space that was available, the old gazebo ballroom, right on the harbor with 360 degrees views, and you have just this amazing setting that makes Marcus's extremely unique and very special. A kitchen that's animated so that you can see the chefs finishing off the food before it goes out to be served to the guests. Yeah.
Now this bar, it's rather unique kind of bar. Tell me about that.
Yeah. I think part of the success of Marcus's business model is Red Rooster up in Harlem, which he's taken a lot of the pieces to bring down here that will work here in Bermuda. And one of those is the bar. So it's not just a little bar, it's a big bar with a lot of space that allows for people to come and congregate in a bar setting. So it's not like a bar that you have a drink before you go sit down and eat. It's a bar where you can come, and if that's where you want to stay for quite a while and just enjoy the music and the atmosphere, you can. It's designed for that. And they built this private dining room that has this most spectacular view of Bermuda and the harbor that allows perfectly to fit the needs of our guests that either need to have a meeting or a special occasion or a function that needs to be just a little bit more private than actually out in an open restaurant. We built a wraparound patio around the entire restaurant for outdoor seating. So not only do you have the fun, lively indoor scene with the bar and the music and the seating inside, but then you have the wraparound patio outside overlooking the harbor.
Tomorrow, we'll share with you some of the menu treats at Marcus. Bermuda's invasion of the annual RIMS conference in New Orleans this week has been managed by the Bermuda Development Agency. And in speaking to Vsb News, Brian Darby, by phone today, the BDA's Chief Executive Officer, Ross Weber, said that Bermuda's impact on the insurance conference had been remarkable.
It is quite unique, Brian. There are insurance conferences of various capacities all over the world, but this one does bring together multidisciplines and people from all over the United States, UK, Bermuda, and different jurisdictions For example, Cayman is here, Bahamas are here, Barbados are here, and so are states like Vermont. And we have actually been to see each and every one of those different delegations that are here. And it's actually quite impressive to see the deference they show to Bermuda. And there's an understanding and an acknowledgement of who the market leader is across the breadth of the risk solutions pillar.
I suppose we must have gone all those years ago cap in hand to this occasion. Now look at us, we're among the royalty.
Very, very much so. In fact, the visit that we took to the Lloyd's booth was incredibly impressive. They had a number of logos up demonstrating the Lloyd's companies that were there, and at least 3/4 of them have a significant Bermuda presence. So it is very clear that how highly regarded Bermuda is in the world of risk and insurance, and that's further emphasized by our very strong presence here. I should advise, accompanying this government-led delegation, we have approximately 200 business people here supporting the overall Bermuda message. It's a very strong and powerful partnership that we're portraying here in New Orleans.
And we are the pros.
Very, very, very much so. BDA has helped organize this. Our first organization was in Denver last year. We've enhanced and augmented that this year with a very strong, robust delegation. Everybody's speaking off the same hymn sheet, and everybody is promoting Bermuda to its maximum capability.
Bermuda Regiment gunners are currently standing by to help celebrate a new royal baby with a traditional two-gun salute from Orboys Point in Hamilton. Once word comes from Government House, the men who man the field guns of the regiment will have 2 hours to assemble and move the guns to the firing point, but will be restricted to firing during the 13 hours of daylight. The regiment gunners were the first in the world to celebrate the birth of the Duchess of Cambridge's first son, Prince George, 2 years ago, thanks to the time difference between the UK and Bermuda. In a 7-page statement issued overnight by Home Affairs Minister Senator Michael Fay, government has made quite clear its displeasure with the manner in which financial regulations were ignored by the Hamilton Corporation over the borrowing of $18 million for the planned Parleville Hotel. Brian Darby breaks it down for us.
Mr. Fay said it was highly regrettable that having afforded the corporation the opportunity to enter into guarantees in order to facilitate a much-needed approved hotel project in the city of Hamilton, the government was then kept in the dark as to these unfortunate arrangements, which on their face appear to be very unwise. However, the government was entitled to assume that the elected and unelected officials of the corporation would have conducted the corporation's affairs properly and in the best interests of the corporation. Clearly, he said this has not happened here. In the meantime, Mexico Infrastructure Finance has commenced proceedings in the commercial court against Parleville Hotel and Residences Limited, together with Michael and Jasmine McLean, and these proceedings are ongoing with a summary judgment application scheduled to be heard on May the 26th, 2015. As part of these proceedings, the commercial court has issued an injunction freezing the assets of Parleville Hotel and Residence Limited at McLean's up to an amount of $15 million. Mr. Fay went on to say, "I have been assured by Mr. McLean that the full amount of $18 million exists and is available to be paid over to the rightful parties. Whilst I have seen no tangible evidence of this, I am in ongoing discussions with Mr. McLean with a view to the government's concerns in this regard being alleviated. I have been made aware that both Argyle Limited and Mr. McLean have sought assistance from local lawyers to have the monies moved to a local escrow account, and I believe progress can be made here. I am also in discussion with Mexico Infrastructure Finance and KPMG in relation to achieving repayment of the $18 million loan and the release of the Parleville parking lot from receivership." Brian Darby reporting for Vsb News.
Dr. Grant Gibbons, Minister of Economic Development, is among the government dignitaries attending the annual RIMS conference in New Orleans, and he says he has been pleasantly surprised at the interest that is being shown by the delegates at Bermuda's award of the America's Cup event.
We were at the Lloyd's booth, and the chairman of Lloyd's, John Nelson, in fact, started talking about the America's Cup, and I think there's some interest perhaps in having a Lloyd's component to that. They have connections with some of the major yacht clubs in the UK, and I think obviously Lloyd's has a very long-standing marine tradition, as does Bermuda from an insurance perspective as well. So I think he was looking for ways in which there might be a joint effort at some point during the America's Cup period. So that sounded quite interesting.
Now, being given that honour of the America's Cup has rather put us in a league of some kind. It must be the Super League. People look up to you when you get something like that, don't they?
I think we've gotten a lot of recognition, and it certainly has given us a visibility that perhaps is in addition to the insurance and reinsurance business we have here. It's funny how many people turn out to be sailors, and I think America's Cup certainly is the premier sailing event. So I think that combination with Bermuda has certainly done us a lot of good, and I think it's getting us increased visibility as well as a very strong jurisdiction.
And now we turn to Earl Baisden with the latest from the Sports Desk.
Over the past 24 years, David Bascom, president of Bascom Enterprises, has impacted the lives of more than 6,000 young local soccer players through the annual Pro Soccer Summer Clinic. This year, Velodis Holdings, which has had a working partnership with Bascom Enterprise for a number of years, will be the lead sponsor for the Pro Soccer Summer Clinic that will be staged at the National Sports Center.
I tell you, it's a great thing, and you know, like I said, it's my biggest value is my legacy. And to leave a legacy, you have to leave sustainable processes that's going on. Having Danny Kelly involved, John Barry Newsom involved, having a lot of local coaches is huge. It's huge for us. Having the women's professional coaches coming on is huge. And what that does for me, it gets me to enjoy the camp more. It gets me to be next to the players. It gets me to next to the young people. I mean, I love my young people. I love Bermuda. I love my young people. But to watch them, the smile on their face. This is a 1 week camp. Well, it's a 2 week camp now. That's going to be at the National Stadium. You mentioned the National Sports Center, and I tell you what, a beautiful place, a great place to be at. The field is plush. You cannot complain. You can't go up there complaining about bumps or why the ball's popping up to your head. And then you got the whole facility. You got the swimming pool. You got a lot of surroundings that's there. It's definitely for a professional, soccer camp. It's a great environment because it is a professional environment.
Work Academy swept all 4 medals in the individual portion of the Bermuda School Sports Federation's Senior School Girls Badminton Tournament at the Work Academy Gymnasium yesterday. Carolina Alexander came from behind to defeat Melanie Soares Chan in the under-16 final 15-13. Alexander defeated Emily Sinclair of Mount St. Agnes 15-10 in their semifinal, while Soares Chan edged by Kelly Simmons of Saltus 15-13 in the other semifinal. Squash star Ty Williams breezed past all her opposition in winning the over-16 girls tournament. She defeated Sophie Redmond 15-7 in what turned out to be her closest match. Williams cruised past Zayna Simmons of Saltus 15-4 in their semifinal, while Redmond defeated Kenesha Nanette from Saltus in the other semifinal 15-13. Work Academy capped their winning streak in the doubles tournament when swimming sensation Madeline Moore teamed up with Megan Owie, and they defeated Saltus pair Laura Hope and Kelly Simmons by a score of 15-13 in the under-16 division. The Work Academy pair defeated the MSA team of Emily St. Clair and Kennedy Cordero 15-7 in their semifinal, while Hope and Simmons defeated Alexander and Soares Chan in the other semifinal. Saltus did not go home without any gold medals after the pair of Kenesha Nanette and Laura Hall defeated Cedar Bridge Academy pair Micah Pond and Samir Lowe Darrell 15-6 in the finals of the over-16 doubles competition. The Saltus team defeated the Work Academy pair of Ty Williams and Sophie Redmond in their semifinal, while Cedar Bridge edged past a Saltus team of Zayna Simmons and Tajet Wainwright 15-11. Northern Iowa Athletic Community College men's outdoor track and field freshman Trey Simons represented the school at the Jim Duncan Invitational at the Drake Stadium in California. Simons finished 6th while competing in the men's 1,500-meter run, crossing the line in a time of 3:56.76. Simons finished 9th in the men's 800-meter run, clocking a time of 1:56.26. Tyler Smith and her ASA college women's tennis teammates cruised to a 9-0 victory against 26th-ranked NCAA Division II Concordia College at the U.S. National Tennis Center. Playing in the number 3 singles position, Smith defeated her opponent in straight sets, 6-love, 6-love, and then she teamed up with Mingxing Du and won their doubles match in the number 1 spot, 8-4. After his third-place finish at the Ironman 70.3 Brasilia, the Latin American Championships on April 5th, Tyler Butterfield will face a stern test this weekend in the Ironman 70.3 North American Championships in St. George, Utah. On Monday, May 25th, the Appleby Half Marathon Derby will get underway in St. George, with the individual runners leaving at 9 a.m., while the relay runners will depart at 9:10. The race starts at the junction of Duke of York and Earl Maids Lane. Runners may use the entire road from the start to the Town of St. George's sign. From this point, participants must use the left side of the road, including following the normal traffic flow at all roundabouts until Lane Hill and Hamilton. The race proceeds along Mallet Bay Road, Kinley Field Road, the Causeway, Blue Hill Hill, North Shore, Flats Hill, and Middle Road. Turn left at Lane Hill, proceed down Lane Hill to East Broadway and Front Street to Queen Street, proceed up Queen Street, turn right onto Church Street to King Street, turn left on King Street and proceed to Victoria Street, turn left at Victoria Street and proceed to Cedar Avenue, turn right on Cedar Avenue and proceed to Marsh Folly Road, turn right at Marsh Folly Road and proceed down to Dutton Avenue, turn right at Dutton Avenue and follow the directions onto the field at Bernard Park to the finish line. I'm Earl Basden reporting for VSB Sports.
Looking at the weather for Thursday, April 30th, it will be cloudy with periods of rain and showers, decreasing late afternoon. Winds will be east-southeasterly, light to moderate, increasing moderate by afternoon, then veering southerly to southwesterly at night, while increasing moderate to strong. We are expecting a high near 74 Fahrenheit and a low near 64 Fahrenheit. This weather forecast is the courtesy of the Bermuda Weather Service. Thank you for watching Vsb News Online for Wednesday, April 29th. I'm Peter Kitzel.